This is my leftover spinach and pea green curry. It is packed full of glorious spices, tons of fibre and a diversity of ingredients that are going to lower inflammation and support your metabolic health. You will absolutely love making this, and you and the family are going to enjoy it so much. Doctor's Kitchen. Recipes, health, lifestyle. This is pretty much what my fridge looks like at the end of the week. I've got odd bits everywhere, some celery, I've got some herbs that are looking a little bit manky. Don't throw this stuff away. It's still packed with nutrition and flavor. It doesn't look the best, but that's okay. It's gonna go into this sort of green, vibrant dish that the base of which you can use it in lots of different cuisines. I'm gonna make this Indian-y. I think I can say that. We're gonna use two of my favorite ingredients that I always have in my freezer: frozen spinach and frozen peas. It's super easy to just combine these. They take on loads of flavor. So first off, I'm gonna add this to my blender. In this goes, I've got these spinach briquettes are really good value for money. You get so much spinach packed into these little parcels here. And if you think about when you use spinach at home and you put it into a pan, everything wilts down. You use a whole big bag of it and it wilts all the way down. One of these is essentially a bag of spinach. So you're getting so much more nutrition and so much more bang for your buck. So that all goes in there. I'm gonna add the green peas as well. There's about 300 grams of peas. I usually do it by eye. Hopefully it's not gonna go everywhere. Ooh, my kitchen. A little bit of, oh, there's an extra pea. A little bit of hot water. This will break everything down as well. And then I'm gonna add bouillon, or how do I say it, Sakina? Bouillon? Is it bouillon? Bouillon. This is one of the benefits of having a variety of nationalities as part of the Doctor's Kitchen in the studio. Gonna go in with 2 teaspoons of bouillon. But you can use chicken stock, veg stock, whatever stock you like. It's just gonna add a lot more flavor to it. And we're gonna blend this together. Hopefully it's not gonna go everywhere. This is very hot. I'm gonna make sure I cover the little spout thingy together. All right, so that looks nicely pulverized. You wanna do a little bit less water, so you can always add water if you want. That's got tons of flavor in. It's greeny, pea, spinachy, brilliant. I might not use all of that, but you can always use half of this in what I'm gonna make here, and then keep this in your fridge for something else. On to the pan here. I've got a large casserole dish, or you can use a big saucepan, it's up to you, on a low to medium heat, and I'm gonna get through all these different ingredients. So celery, actually one of the vegetables that are high in nitrates, and nitrates that convert nitrous acid in your stomach, and then into nitric oxide in various parts of your body that lower blood pressure, improve blood flow in your brain, as well as improving athletic performance as well. You want to try and get nitrates into your diet every single day. And celery, surprisingly, do have a good amount of nitrates. I'm just gonna slice this down the middle and just do a very simple fine dice with all these different ingredients I've got. I've got some leftover courgette. We put this in a fritter this week. This is exactly what we want for this kind of dish, because you don't want too much water. So I'm gonna put that in this bowl whilst I chop my other ingredients. And I'm gonna go in with our onion. I'm just doing it so rough here. You can do it one-handed chopping if you like, it's totally fine. Bit of olive oil, in we go. I use olive oil pretty much for most things because it's a nice neutral flavored oil. Extra virgin olive oil I use sort of for dressings. You can cook in it as well, but for sort of this Indian-y kind of dish, I'm gonna go with just a light olive oil. I want a light saute, so when you cook with your ears as well as your eyes. I'm hearing that light sizzle, that's exactly what I want. In goes the courgette and the celery. This is gonna be a nice base. Just move this around. Got a little bit of salt in there. It's all fine. This is basically how I cook at home. I'm so lazy when it comes to chopping and making sure everything is perfect. And that's fine. That's exactly how we should be cooking when we're at home. We're just focusing on flavor and function, not necessarily aesthetics the whole time. These onions go in. Okay, move this around. Don't want to brown these off. I don't want to get too much color on them. Give that a couple of minutes and then we're going to add our spices. In the meantime, I'm also going to add the stems of these manky looking herbs. Don't turn your nose up at these. These are absolutely fine to eat and they do have that nutrition, they do have that flavor. Use the stems in a dish like this because you want to put it in the base and it will permeate through all those different flavors that we've got going here. just finely chop the stems as you would do like the celery. And I've got a mixture of different herbs here. I've got some parsley in here. I've got some coriander. So we're gonna put these stems in. In that goes. It's a great way of using up the leftovers in your fridge at the end of the week. I'm just gonna add some garlic here. Again, if you wanted to do like finely diced garlic, you leave the root in at the end over here. Run your knife down without going the whole way through, and then go across, and then you've got like a nice sort of diced garlic. So the veggies are getting nice and brown. This is the stage that I wanna introduce my spices, because I don't want my spices to burn. And I'm just using a mixture of sort of Indian-y spices. So I've got some mustard seeds, that's gonna go in there, about 1.5 teaspoons, some garam masala, 2 teaspoons of this, and some cumin seeds. I'm gonna go with 2 teaspoons of this. I like my punchy flavors. I want the warmth of these spices to permeate through these veggies. Move everything around.
That smells so good.
I know it does, right? Thank you. Thank you. Cameraman number 1, cameraman number 2. You know what I just forgot? I forgot to add these greens, which is the whole point. I'm just gonna bosh some of these into our blender over there, because I've forgotten. And I'm also gonna add these to the end of the meal, so you just get a little bit more of the texture of these at the end. So I'm also gonna add some tomatoes to this. I've got some leftover tomatoes. That's the only reason why I'm using this, to be honest. Otherwise, you don't need to put tomatoes in here. They will introduce a little bit of water as well, which again will stop it catching from the bottom. And I'm just halving them because, again, I'm just feeling lazy. This is how I'm gonna cook today. This is looking great. I'm gonna add a tiny bit of water just to take the brown elements off the bottom of the pan. Look, this is already looking gorgeous. I mean, I'm blessed with these orange tomatoes here that we've got, which are beautiful and sweet. I'm gonna add the green super mix. Green super mix goes in. Now, this you might think this looks a bit thick. The tomatoes are gonna break down in this. They're gonna add a little bit of water. If you do feel like it catches the bottom as it just sort of blips away, just add a touch of water, but I'd always sort of veer on the side of putting less water in than over hydrating your mix here, because these flavors, those spices, the brown mustard seeds, cumin seeds, the garam masala, think about that sort of hot mix of all those antioxidants that you're going to find in those spices. You want to be adding as much diversity to your food as possible. That's going to help your gut health. That's going to help you reduce inflammation. And with these nitrate-rich ingredients, you're well on your way to a winning healthy meal. Too much of the water, and then I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do an inauthentic paneer-style topping. Gosh, I'm gonna get cancelled with this. Halloumi. So, paneer is what I would use if I had access to an Indian grocer or a big supermarket that stocked paneer. Paneer is a real typical bland sort of cheese. It's more about the texture than it is about the flavor. And so it lends itself to a lovely dish like this that is packed full of flavor in the actual sauce, and then you add to it. Halloumi is quite salty in itself, so you don't need to really add much to it. And it's a lot more available than paneer. So if you can't find paneer, this is my cheat version of using halloumi. Don't come at me in the comments here. This is literally like how you work a recipe on the fly when you don't have those ingredients that are necessarily authentic. This is a really inauthentic mix. And honestly, like, this is just me throwing things into the pan here. So it's not, I'm not saying that this is an authentic Indian green curry, but it's gonna taste wonderful. I'm gonna chop this into around 2 centimeter cubes here, and I'm just gonna lightly fry this so it's nice and golden on every side. There we go. Fry my little halloumi buddies, fry. Into this pan here that's blipping away, all the flavors are getting to know each other. I'm gonna add the beans. I tend to go for jarred beans. I like jarred beans, the flavor is better. These are some leftover beans that we had in like a bean mash. And you can put it in with a bit of the water as well, that's totally fine. The little bit of water will give a nice creaminess to the dish. And I'm just gonna very lightly push this around. You know, if you think about the base of this dish, we've got, I don't know, 5, 6 different ingredients. We've got legumes, we have tomatoes, we have things that are going to be reducing inflammation, reducing things like cholesterol. This is perfect dish for you. And these guys are looking beautiful and brown. It's exactly what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. So this is gonna wilt in the residual heat of this mixture. Chop the rest of those ingredients up as well. Just run your knife through the ingredients. I'm gonna try and just chop this chili as finely as I can. Now, if you don't like heat, this meal doesn't actually have that much heat in it as it stands at the moment. So we've just used mustard seed, cumin seed, garam masala. There is that sort of warmth of the spice, but there's no like spicy, you know, burn your tongue sort of heat. This chili is gonna provide that for me, but if you don't want that, you don't need to put the chili in. I think it's great. I put this kind of stuff on like cheese and toast and stuff. It's a nice sort of way of getting a little bit of fire into your food, as well as some vitamin C as well from the chilies. This is blipping away, and this is exactly what I want. Just the rocket is just slightly wilted. This is looking and smelling delicious. It's bubbly. We're gonna dance some of our halloumi on top. Look, if you've got paneer, use paneer, that's totally fine. But it's just easier to use something that's a lot more accessible for folk around the country. So look at that, come on, this is a family meal made up. I've got no more ingredients left. I've used up everything in my fridge. Got those healthy ingredients that we snuck into that green sauce. We've got so much flavor. It's gonna be tasting time. It's tasting time soon. That's when Sakina's gonna come from a desk behind us. Sneak over. I'm gonna drizzle a little bit of oil on top. Hey, look, stop trying to adulterate my dish here, okay? I know you can add crispy onions, you can add what's-its, whatever you want to it, but this is my dish, okay? And I've already adulterated it enough with halloumi. I'm gonna dive into this. Crispy halloumi, bit of chili, green pea curry sauce. That curry sauce is so delicious and creamy. There's a warmth to that sauce. It is inviting. It's got like a beautiful sort of aromatic flavor. The base of it's at the back of my mouth. There's some texture there with the crispy halloumi on the outside. It would be there as well with paneer, or if you're using an air fried tofu for that texture. You've got plenty of protein here. You've got beans. You can add more lentils to it. There's so many different ways in which you can use this green base as well. Just spinach, peas, veg stock, a little bit of hot water, blend it up, and you can add that to a wealth of different spices. You gotta go and try this. What do you think?
Very flavorful.
Oh.
That's what I wanted to and go, oh my god.
You've got like it's kind of like
explosion. Squidgy. Yeah.
Squidginess, crunchiness.
Yeah.
It's really flavorful.
That is a winter dish.